Hello and welcome back to Concept First to Mastery. So in this section, we'll continue with Git and GitHub. We've had two sections now, right? If you miss out on that, just check the description, right, for those sections, or click on the card that you have above. So in this section, we want to look at common Git commands that you need to acquaint yourself with, and we're also going to have hands-on on how to actually work with these commands, right? Without wasting time, let's get right into it. So we walk through these common Git commands, right, quickly, and let's get into that right away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say cd into learn -git, right? This was the project folder we created to practice Git in the last section, right? So now I'm in that current directory. What I just want to do is open it in the VS Code editor, right? So that we can work from there. So this is what we have currently, if you look at it. So this was where we stopped in the last section. And you will see that I already used this command, git init. That's why I'm able to do git status or run any git command there. If you are yet to initiate a git repository on this particular project or on any project you are working on, you will not be able to run any of the git commands. So again, just so that I demonstrated it again so that this is clear to everyone, right? Let's see. Let's just see that project itself. So I'm going to delete this .git because that's the repository. So by the time I come back and do git status, it's going to tell me it's not see now fata, not a git repository. So it means I need to have git repository, right, on this project. And I already told you what git repository is all about, right? It helps you track all your files, the changes, and also it helps you keep track of all the commit histories as you are working. So now if I want to start afresh as if this were to be a new project, all I need to do is git init, right, which is our first command here, git init. It's going to initialize a git repository for us, a local repository. So once they git init, enter. So initialize empty git repository, right? And the way you know is if I come back to here, you'll see that I have that folder, which is my local repository. Again, take note of what it does, right? It keeps track of the files in your project and also the commit histories that you have. So essentially, when you are pushing your work to the remote repository, it is this folder that is being pushed, right? Which contains everything that has to do with the project. So the next thing we want to do is say git status, right? So this actually allows us to check, that's this. It allows us to view repository status. Now, the status here is that I have a file change, which is index.html. The current status of this file is that it is untracked. So if I want it to be tracked, which simply means I want it to move it to a staging area, right? So items that are staged. So we have three states here: the unstaged, which is the untracked, we have the stage, and we have the commit, right? So the stage is where you have files that are ready to be committed. So currently now this is not staged. So what you do is you do git, so that is this, git add, right? So git add, let me use the basic one first, git add, then the name of the file, right? So git add this. So if I do git status again, don't forget git add the name of the file. What it does is that it actually move that file to the staging, right? The staging area where it's then ready to be committed. So if I do git status, you can see that the color is now green, meaning that it has been staged and now it's ready to be committed. If I want to unstage it, right, you can use git remove cached. This particular command is here, git remove cached, then the name of the file. So you see that it's going to revert what we've done, right? So if you do git status, so you see that it's back. So I hope that is clear, right? So, but we want to actually commit it. So git add this. So that's the first command. Again, git status is already moved to the staging. So the next thing is from staging, you now want to move it to the commit area. And you can see it says changes to be committed. So here, if we want to move it to the commit area where it can be added to the history, commit history, we use git commit. So -m means the message. So this is a flag for the message. And then you put your message in quotation. Usually your message will relate to what you have done so far, right? So if I say git commit -m, then string there, I might just say basic index file added, right? So then you say enter. So you can see that this is committed, right? And if you do git status, it's going to tell you there's nothing again to commit. Now we have everything clean, right? But if I do git log, you're going to see that it has been committed. So this was what was committed. You can see that this is the commit message, right? So these are the basic things you need to do before you push your work to a remote repository, right? Another command that I want to quickly introduce here is git add dot. So there's a difference between git add, the name of the file, and git add dot. So let me just demonstrate that. For instance, if I were to have, let's say I have this here. Let's say I have another paragraph here. I'll just say another text, just for example, right? So if I come here and do git status, right? That file is changed, right? But let me do something more. So let me add a new file called readme.md, right? This one, I just want to have, let's say hash, let's just say common git commands. Let's have this common git commands, right? So I'll just have 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to bring in that this here, just so that we have that command. By the time I push this, you can also make use of it, right? So we have these commands here now in the README section. So if I come here and do git status again, so you can see now that we have two files. We have this and we have this. So if I'm using Git, if I want to move these items now to staging, so what we've learned before is to do git add, then I will need to do this first, right? And then press enter. Then again, I will now need to do git add again. So that means if I have many changes, right, I will need to add them one by one. Which is okay if it's just 1 or 2 or 3, right? But when there are many, it's not fast. So at that point, you can just say git add dot. So dot here means that it should add every file in the current directory, right, that is currently on track. So it happens that index and readme are in the same directory. I mean the learn git directory. So we have two files here, index and readme. So if we have other files too that are on track, this period means this current directory, and the current directory, right, is learn git. So it's just going to do it all at once. So git add dot. By the time I do status, git status, so you see now that we have the two items moved, right? So by the time I now do git commit, let's say git commit -m, might just say readme, or let's say added readme, right? So that's it. So if I do git log now, you see that I have two commits. So this is like the commit history, right? So those are the things I want us to track quickly. Now, the next thing that comes to mind is after we've used git init, we've used git status, we've used git add and git add dot. We've also used git commit, right? And I think we are good to go here. So the next thing is, the next flag we want to familiarize ourselves with is the git command that allows us to now move what we've done to the remote repository, right, that resides on our account on GitHub. So, but before then, another issue that might occur is, okay, I will come back to that. So let's just go to that command, and that command is here. Let me move this also. Let me move this to the README also. All right. So the command we are looking for there is git push. You now say origin, then git push origin master. So this command in itself, if I do it now, it's going to fail. It's going to fail, right? So it's saying origin does not appear to be a Git repository. That's because I'm trying to push a repository that does not exist, right? So usually what you do is that you will come first to your repository here, and you create a remote repository, just like you created one on the project. So here now, I might just come and say, and this we are going to name it learn Git, right? Learn Git. It's not compulsory, it's the same name with that one, but let's keep it like that. Learn Git. So this is okay. If you want the project to be public, like in our case, I want to be public, you keep it public. But if you are dealing with a private project, right? A company project, a client project, you want to keep private. I don't need to add README again because I already added README, right? And all that. So you can just say create repository. So it's now going to create that repository, but this repository now is remote because it resides on the cloud, right, service. So now what you have here is that once you have this, you can see that it's giving us what to do to actually get ready to be able to push our project to this particular remote repository. So the first one is Git init. We have done that. It expects you that locally you initiate Git on your project. We've done that. README, we've done README, right? Git commit, we've committed all our changes. As a matter of fact, if you do Git status here, you'll find nothing. Okay, the README file here, I think I added something again. So let's just commit that latest change. Or Git commit, right? -m. And here we just say updated README, right? So I think there is something wrong there. What's that command? Git commit -m updated README is supposed to go through. Changes not stage for, okay, yeah. Git add, let me just use dot, right? I already explained what that means. And if you do Git status, it should be green now, right? Then Git commit. So if you don't want to type the command all over again, just press your up arrow, right? To like backspace to take you back to the previous commands that you've run. If you want to the earlier ones, you can also use the down arrow. So I want Git commits or update README. So now we've done that. If I do Git status, right, there is nothing here to commit again, which means we can push our updates now. But this guy doesn't know where to push to. The command that allows to check, right, what the remote repositories that are already hooked to this particular project. You say git remote, right? Git remote -v. Okay, that should be git remote -v. So there is a typo there, right? Git remove, not remove, git remote -v, right? So this is just to check the remote repository links that we have. So you see that this is showing nothing. And that was why when I tried to push my project, the current update, right, to that remote repository, it's throwing error because it doesn't know where to push to. So that is why you then need this command here. So here I can say git remote add origin. So if I want to use main branch, you can also do this, right? It's just going to rename your main branch to main. Current, but the default is master. So if I don't do this, right, it's going to actually use master for me instead of main. So let's stick with this first, just so that you get that. So I will omit this command, right? Which means I don't want to use main. I want it to use master. Then git add remote, git remote add origin. Then this is the URL, right? That points to that remote repository that we have just created. So what you just do is you come here and say git remote add. So this is more like you are referencing where this project, right, should push its update to whenever you want to. So if you now run that earlier command, git remote -v, you see, can you see now origin is now pointing to the remote repository that we want to update our changes to whenever we want. I mean the local changes now, whenever we want to update the remote repository with what we have, right? So, and currently we have nothing on the remote repository. We just want to push. So you can see the command here also, git push dash u origin main. So mine is not main. So I'll just say git push, right? Origin. And I'll just say master, right? Of course, you can also put the upstream flag there if you want to, but it's not like it's compulsory. So git push origin master. So that is actually going to, now, if you have not set up your SSH, this will fail. So now you can see that I've successfully pushed what I have locally, right, to my remote repository. So if I come back here and refresh this page, right? If I come back and refresh this page, okay, since already I moved away from that page, let me just go back to okay, yeah, so I think it's here. So you can see now that I have those changes here. So the things I just pushed are here now, right? So, and of course, if you inspect what we have in that particular initial the files, right, you'll notice that it's actually what the changes that we have on the HTML page and also what we have on the readme.md file. So that was why I told you that whatever is saved in the repository, this repository is actually your files, right? And also the commit history of that particular project, because you can see here now, those commits that I made, I had 3 commits here. And if you check here too, I have 3 commits. If I do git log, so you can see that I have 3 commits, 1, 2, 3. So that's, just take note of that. Whatever is here, right, keeps track of your files and the commit history. And by the time you push it, it represents your project. And that is what we have here. So I now have the local copy of my work, and I have it on my GitHub account, right? And I can manage that. So people can collaborate with me now on this particular project here, because as long as you have access to internet, right, you can make use of it. And okay, maybe the question that comes to mind now is, now that I've made those changes, right? Okay, let me just quickly talk about something, because you might encounter that. So when you are pushing for the first time, when you run this command for the first time, git push origin master, right? So how do I know it's master? If you do git branch, it's going to show you the current branch that you are master, right? So if you see, if I do git push origin master, so it's going to try to push to the remote master branch. If you don't want to push the remote master branch, if you have other branches, you can also push to them, right? But if I do this now, it's going to tell me it's already up to date, right? That's what I expected. Everything is up to date. So, but in your own case, what I'm driving at is that you will need to set up the global username and email. If this is your first time, right, you need to set up the global email and username. So you can just say git git config config, so dash global, then user dot name. So you just put your name there. So in my own case, I might just put this, right? Then you just type enter. Then you also do the other one, git config, right? Dash global, right? User dot email. Then here you will now do something like let's say my own email is concept first to mastery. I will advise you use the same email you used to register here, right? At gmail.com, right? So this is going to set up your global username and your global name and email. If you don't do that, you encounter an error, right? And it will also give you these commands to actually use to fix the error, right? So that's it. The next thing now is if we have, because currently now if I do git status, there are no changes, right? So let's say I continue with my project and I continue working on the project, and probably I created something else. Maybe I added another div, or let's say I have a section now, right? Let's say I have a section, and this section is going to hold another paragraph. These are just demo stuff, not really like we want to do anything, right? So let's say I'm just saying I am very much new to Git and GitHub, right? So let's say you have worked for some time and you have changes, and now you want to push your update. You just check again, Git status, right? Oh, this is what I have currently. It's just one file. I can say git add dots, right? Or you can use git add index.html to add the exact file, right? When you do git status again, then you have this is now in the staging area, ready to be committed, right? And you can now do git commit -m. Then the commit message, you can just say added about, if that is what it's about, added about me section, right? And that's it. Now, your remote repository is now aware of this latest change, right? As a matter of fact, if you do git log, right, now we have 4 commits here, right? But what we have remotely, right, is still 3. It's not aware of what we have there. So until you push it, right, you will not see the update. So you now do git and don't push until, make sure that you have committed and what you desire to be pushed is already there, right? If I say git status now, it's going to tell me nothing to commit, which means everything has been committed, right? I can now do git push origin again to the master remote branch now, right? And it will just push that for me automatically. So that's it. By the time you come back here and refresh this page, I'm going to see those updates. All right, so what we did there is that, all right, we had those changes, right? What I added, this is what I added, right? And if you come back here, after running that command, git push origin master and doing necessary things, it pushed the fresh update. And by the time I come here and refresh the page, you can see that this was the last command I added about me, 4 commits. And that's exactly what we have here too. We have 4 commits, right? If you count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Then if you want to view the changes too, it's also here. If you click on this file, you are going to see what we added, right? So that's just how to work with Git. So these are the basic things. Then we can start adding other things that are also important, right, to what we have currently. But at least now you know how to set up Git repository, right? You know how to initiate Git a new repository, right, on your local project, right? You know how to add your changes. You know how to move them to staging, to commit, right? You know how to push them, right, to your remote repository and all that. So that is very, very very, very important. So in the next section, we actually tidy up on some other things, right, that allows us to collaborate with others that are working on the same project.